Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got something very special in store for you just about 25 minutes from now. Not that the first 25 minutes of this edition of The Right Stand are not special, but it's a conversation that you must listen to as I'm in conversation with Sadhguruji. But ahead of that, there is a lot that is developing in Mumbai. Well, it all started in Patna, then moved to Bengaluru, and now it's in Mumbai, where 28 parties or regional satraps plus some national parties are going to come together to figure out how they can collectively form a bunch with a very, very interesting acronym that is I.N.D.I.A, trying to pinch upon India and try and set a narrative there. But this Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, can it even agree to include everyone? Can it even agree on certain key aspects? These are questions which are important. But there is also many other parallel developments which are also creating a buzz there. Now, we'll get you some pictorial references as to who projected themselves as convener or bringing everybody in Patna, whose face was projected, then which party tried to project themselves as leading everything and trying to do everything in Mumbai, and finally, what did the Congress, which believes it's the fulcrum and not the spoke in the wheel, as far as this opposition is concerned, or this committee of contradictions, as some people have called it, is concerned, that it's right at the fulcrum and Rahul Gandhi is the main face. So there are many pictorial references to this and projections, etc. But we will come to one important crux. There is a special session of Parliament, a cryptic tweet that came from Prahlad Joshi earlier in the day, which said a special session of Parliament in the new Parliament between the 18th to the 22nd of September. That has set the rumour mills abuzz. And now we are given to understand, amid all the speculations of who will be, who won't be, who will be the face, who will lead it, who won't, and that's all going to be thrashed out at this I.N.D.I.A meeting, this grouping in Mumbai tomorrow. We are given to understand this special session of Parliament, and including one specific aspect. One nation, one poll was discussed. This aspect was also discussed. How do we deal with it? Because rumors are abuzz as to what else is going to happen. Because we are given to understand that the Parliament session initially in the old building will move to the new building. There is no question hour, no zero hour, no private member bill. That's what's going to happen. Let's ask Kamalika. Kamalika, one nation, one poll. There are plenty of speculations. Was this discussed? Payal Mehta is joining us. Payal, yes, Payal.
Well, Anand, I wouldn't be able to tell you whether the opposition parties actually discussed the One India, One poll, but the rumor mills have been abuzz. What we are given to understand by our sources is that it looks pretty unlikely that it will really happen. Because just in the last monsoon session of Parliament, when this question was asked of the government had given a response saying that this is a detailed consultation which needs to follow because there are states who are involved. For example, Karnataka elections just finished a few months ago. Can you ask the Karnataka government to dissolve the government, within months? That's not really going to happen. But yes, we have been given to understand that probably, it is going to be a very, very important session nonetheless, given the fact that, yes, it's been convened and it's convened for 5 days. It's a sudden tweet that left everybody surprised, including the media and various political leaders. But what we are also given to understand, Anand, is that this is going to be a session which is going to be held both in the new as well as the old building. So the first couple of days, it will be a session which will be held in the old building, following which it will go to the new building as well. So
because this is soon after G20, Payal, if you can hear me, this is soon after G20, and it's somewhere around the time the UNGA is going to happen. Plus, there's a speculation just exactly about 2.5 months before elections are supposed to be called in the three important states of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. So there are a lot of speculations too. I'm going to check if we have Kamalika also with us at this point to take us through what was discussed at the alliance grouping. But Payal, 18th to 22nd, is this a joint session? What are the contours? Because you're saying there is not going to be any question hour. There will be no private members' bills. So is the agenda, is it going to be disclosed in the coming days? Or are they going to keep it close to their chest?
For sources in the Parliament, we understood one thing, that there will be no question hour, there will be no zero hour, there will be no private members' bill, which is actually a norm which every day of every session is. So that's not really happening. And also at the same time, if you look at Prahlad Joshi's tweet, he mentions the session number. He talks about this Lok Sabha and this session number as well. So that's actually left a lot of people very, very confused as to how this is really going to go about the fact. But the fact of the matter is this could also mean that, a lot of opposition parties, Anand, hit out at the government saying that you inaugurated the parliament in a hurry on the 28th of May. Why did you not hold the parliament session in the new parliament building? Because there was some amount of work which was remaining to be finished. That work, it seems, has been finished. So in a way, will it be a farewell of the last session? That remains to be seen, Anand.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for your inputs, Payal. I'm going to check when Kamalika comes and try and see what was discussed, whether one nation, one poll was discussed. There are so many speculations, but let's dive in straight into the debate. Our panelists are with us and let's ask them. This committee of contradictions, are they going to pose a challenge to Prime Minister Narendra Modi? Even as the latest Pew Research observations show that there is a 79% approval for PM to come back in 2024. So Modi versus who is a question many are asking. But if this I.N.D.I.A, if they are able to thrash it out and come to a consensus, does that then pose a huge challenge? And who will lead this? Who will perhaps be the catalyst or the fulcrum? These are some questions that we'll try and get answers to. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, is with us. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, is with us. Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, with us. And Smita Prakash, senior journalist, with us. Namaste and Jai Hind to the ladies and the gentlemen.
Namaskar.
Smita ji, ये जो अटकलें लग रही, let's start with you only. Please tell me what's going to happen between the 18th to the 27th of September. Or is it to just try and spook and derail the agenda of this alliance meeting?
I like the way you're coming to me instead of going to Sanju. I think, you know what, more than anything else, it just takes me back. It takes me back to the period of, 15, 20 years back when there used to be coalition governments and the governments used to be literally like sieves, leaking information. Here it is like shut doors. Nobody knows. So there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of gossip, but one really doesn't know what's happening, So till it's announced, nobody knows. Even though Ghanshyam looks very, very tense about it. Ghanshyam, thoda smile kar sakte hain, ho sakta hai polls ho jaye. You'll have to be ready to go to the people again. So there are two things to come seriously to the matter. There are two things that could happen. One is this talk about one nation, one poll. In this, there are, it's a mammoth task, Anand, because then it means a constitutional amendment, state assemblies, dissolving. They'll have to pass through that. It's too big an exercise. If the government wanted to do this, they would have probably done it in 2022 when they had called an all-party meeting. Some parties did not take part in that meeting in 2022. So they could have started it then. But the fact that they have not done it, I doubt that it could be a constitutional amendment related matter. What the other thing is that they could dissolve the parliament, but to dissolve the Lok Sabha, the government doesn't need to call a parliament session. It just needs to call a cabinet meeting and go to the president and dissolve the Lok Sabha. They don't need to. Why would they call this if they were dissolving it? Is that 4-5 days they will put forth all the achievements of the government and then say that, listen, we've done all this, and there are 4 states which are going to polls, which is like 6 months ka tenure hota hai. They're 6 months before the general election. So let's do it together, save money for the country, etc. Make it into a moral argument and then dissolve it. So that is a possibility that could happen. So that is another possibility that they could bring it. The other thing is what the Congress is saying is that they just want to dominate the news cycle. I doubt that the government will go through such a task of calling a parliament session just to dominate a news cycle.
Correct. Derail the agenda of the alliance. That means that then the Sarkar of the day is really spooked. The other thought processes, and this comes from the echelons of or the corridors of power, is भाई मई 2024 तक मैंडेट है तो हम पहले 6 महीने पहले क्यों कुर्सी छोड़ते हैं? Why should we leave or demit our roles if we have the leeway till May 2024? If not, we can announce it on May 2024 going forward. Why should we do it now is one question. Although there is another school of thought which says, let's do it now. यही समय है, सही समय है. Now, is that true or not? We don't know. Sanju Verma ji, You are in Mumbai. I asked Smita Prakash because a lot of the spokespersons usually say, "यार आप journalist को पहले खबर मिलती है, spokesperson को बाद में brief किया जाता है." So I am asking you now.
Anand, I just want to say one thing. If you look at the track record of, the election process in India, right till 1957, we had the first general elections in 1952. Till 1957, we had synchronized elections in terms of both the general election and elections to state assemblies being held simultaneously. This synchronized cycle was first broken in Kerala in July 1959 when the centre invoked Article 356 to dismiss the government headed by E.M.S. Namboodiripad. So my limited point is this, that it's not as if having synchronized elections is something that has been alien to India. It has happened in the past. Point number two, as Smita Prakash rightly said, for one nation, one election to be consummated and to be executed, you need an amendment to the Representation of Peoples Act 1951. And point number two, which not many people are talking about, is the fact that you need the consent of 50% of the state assemblies, and getting that consent is a Herculean task, if not impossible. So anybody who's trying to suggest that the special session between September 18th and 22nd, which has been called for by the Modi government, is to announce one nation, one election, and to usurp the democratic ethos. Because आजकल तो कुछ भी हो, the first thing I hear from the I.N.D.I.A cabal is, अरे मोदी जी हमसे डर गए, अरे डेमोक्रेसी खतरे में है, अरे संविधान खतरे में है. And I will just tell you something. I stay in South Bombay, in Breach Candy, which falls in the Malabar Hill constituency area. And I was today driving down to Santa Cruz for a meeting. And I noticed that, while these people talk big about, हम सब एक साथ हैं, हम एकजुट हैं, and, we will put up a tough fight because we are united despite ideological affiliations being different. I was amused, but not the least bit surprised. All through, my journey, when I was driving down, I saw there were huge hoardings of Rahul Gandhi, of Sonia Gandhi. कहीं-कहीं Mallikarjun Kharge का चेहरा दिख रहा था, and there were hoardings of Uddhav Thackeray facilitating this alliance, which will have its meeting today and of course tomorrow as well. There was no sign of Nitish Kumar, there was no sign of DMK Stalin, there was no sign of Lalu Prasad Yadav, there was no sign of Akhilesh Yadav, which tells you that finally the fulcrum of this alliance is Congress, and the Congress has never been known to stand in solidarity with its alliance partners, be it the Deve Gowda government, be it the Chandrasekhar government, or for that matter, the I.K. Gujral government. Every single government has been brought down by the Congress in the past. So I think the reliability factor with respect to the Congress is at an all-time low. Whether people want to admit it in the public domain or not, that is a different ballgame altogether.
But heart of hearts, no matter how much you want to bash the Congress party, you also realize that more than 200 seats you are directly in fight with the Congress. So you would like to have Congress in the thick of things, because then you believe as a BJP, its DNA is engineered to counter the Congress. That's the reality, Sanjuji. So you have to accept that. I'll come back to you in a bit. Let me bring in Tehseen Poonawalla and Ghanshyam Tiwari. Gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Tehseen, what's happening? What's the buzz? Is Congress going to be the fulcrum?
Congress is the fulcrum, but before that,
will Rahul Gandhi emerge as a consensus face of Prime Minister, of the Prime Ministerial candidate?
I don't know if
Go ahead,
Rahul ji. Thank you, Jayan. And before that, you rightly went to Smita ji first, because a good journalist is almost like a magician. They know exactly what to reveal and what not to reveal. So Anand, you and Smita ji are good magicians / journalists. So that's the right decision to do. But let me, the Congress is the fulcrum of this alliance. There's no doubt about it. There has to be the two national parties, that's the Congress and the BJP, two big national parties, have to be the fulcrum of the N.D.A and the I.N.D.I.A alliance. So there is no doubt about it. As so far as whether Rahul ji would be prime ministerial candidate, look, nobody in the Gandhi family has been prime minister for the last 35 years. But I do concede to the point, this is my personal opinion, I've been telling this to the Congress top leadership, that at some point the prime ministerial place will have to be given. Not just a prime ministerial place. As I said on Smita ji's podcast, you will have to have a shadow finance minister, a shadow external affairs minister. You'll have to have all of this to give your vision versus the NDA vision. Therefore, the people of India can make an informed choice. Smita ji is, and you are right on on the fact, and in fact even Sanjuji is right on the fact that the constitutional amendment will be required for the one nation, one election. But what really worries me is not that if the Lok Sabha elections held with Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, that would be a bad move. We know Prime Minister Vajpayee did that and he lost the elections. That's not my worry. My worry is what is being spoken right now in the streets of Mumbai where I am, where they say, look, the election commission may say, look, the government is preponing the Lok Sabha elections by a couple of months, that's February. These state elections will also happen in February, and therefore you have Madhya Pradesh, etc. with the Lok Sabha elections in February. Now that, how it happens constitutionally, that may not require constitutional amendment, that may require simple parliamentary amendment for the election commission to do so. If that happens, that is not acceptable. You may, if the government, if Modi ji wants to give up his prime ministership and go along with Madhya Pradesh, thinking he'll win that state for his party, all the best to him. That is democratic. Postponing Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Telangana is not accepted. Chhattisgarh is not accepted because the BJP is losing this. That's point number one. Point number two, one more point that the alliance will have to do, and I'm playing a little role in this, is we will have to tell people what you will give the people of India versus what the BJP is giving. For example, one of my suggestions is the Ministry of Artificial Intelligence. You will have to give that. So the BJP has none of it, no pun intended. So you'll have to give that to the viewers. You'll have to give that to the voters and let them make informed choices.
See, so either there are only ways to look at it. Is that a backhanded compliment that the BJP has no artificial intelligence? It's called genuine intelligence. It's not artificial. The other aspect is that if there is a Ministry of Artificial Intelligence, will it be run by a bot, or will it be a program that similar to an algorithm that is currently commanding the Pragyan rover, which is doing fantastic work on Moon, better than some drivers on Delhi roads and Mumbai roads. So many questions there, but Ghanshyam Tiwari, good to have you on the debate. Where do you stand, sir? Akhilesh Yadav, Samajwadi Party, UP, 80 seats, dictates the discourse for Lok Sabha polls. And why is he being sidelined so much?
Good evening, Anand, to you, the viewers and the fellow panelists, as well as a very happy Raksha Bandhan to everyone in the country. Three things are important. That we are living in an Orwellian times where a leading journalist from I.N.D.I.A does not know why Parliament session has been called. The BJP spokesperson does not know why Parliament session has been called. An opposition voice like Tehseen does not know why Parliament session has been called. And News18 obviously does not know why Parliament session has been called. Not a single minister possibly or I.N.D.A. ally would know why the Parliament session has been called. By the way, this 17th Lok Sabha sets the tragic record of the least number of sessions ever. And it beats the 16th Lok Sabha. In a parliament where the Prime Minister has to face a no confidence motion just because he can muster courage to enter the parliament and has to face a walkout just because he can mention Manipur. That's point one. Two, we are also living in interesting times where people who grew up calling India as India today call I.N.D.I.A, whatever, that is Sanju Verma, and you calling I.N.D.I.A. It's a shame that today we are creating an acronym of the word India one of us knows. My third point, I did not interrupt.
No, one minute. Let him complete.
My third point.
He's got every right to complete.
You will have your time.
Make his point, yeah.
My third point, that we are talking about one nation, one election, but right now the world is talking about one nation, one businessman. From Financial Times to global headlines, one nation, one businessman dominates, from Greece to what is happening with SEBI. So turning the country into a laughing stock, where the institutions does not matter, press does not matter, the parliament itself does not matter to the Prime Minister, and the charges of corruption are now international, is a much bigger concern. As far as the India alliance is concerned, it is clear it is not going to be one nation, one businessman. It is not going to be one nation, one.
I need to come in now.
It is not going to be an era where from schools to states like Manipur, there is hatred. Kids are beaten.
Right.
Kargil warriors' wife is paraded naked, and the Prime Minister has time to joke in the parliament.
I need to make a point now, Anand.
Make an empathetic point.
Wait.
The Prime Minister has not visited Manipur.
Yeah.
He would have visited 10 countries, and he would visit another country if Mr. Adani wants him to. I think people underestimate
this cannot
that.
be an
Please yield, Ghanshyam Tiwari.
attack on the Prime Minister.
Yeah. No, 1 minute. No. 1 minute. Let me.
The tallest leader in BJP.
I have limited time, so that's why.
This is
Final
unfair.
point. The tallest leader in
Please complete and
BJP.
let him complete his statement. Yeah.
The tallest leader in BJP today is Mr. Adani, and everything is bent to
amused.
Right now, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'm running over on my show. 1 minute. I'm running over on my show.
I need to come in here.
My point is, I have to give you I have to give you commentations on the fact that you've stuck to your guns as opposition and as a voice. Although a lot of what you have said can be fact-checked by many people on the panel, including myself, Smita Prakash, and Tehseen Poonawalla, and also Sanju Verma. I'm way over Sanju Verma, but I'm going to give you 20 seconds to respond, please. I have to wind up after that. Please bear with me. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Ghanshyam Tiwari can come here and cry and sulk and whine. The fact is today, under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in terms of nominal GDP, we have overtaken the United Kingdom to become the world's 5th largest economy. We run the world's largest financial inclusion scheme called the Jan Dhan Yojana. We run the world's largest health insurance scheme called the Ayushman Bharat Yojana. We run the world's largest self-employment scheme called the Mudra Yojana. We run the world's largest sanitation scheme called Swachh Bharat Yojana. And if Ghanshyam Tiwari is blind to all these developments,
largest propaganda
good luck to
scheme.
him. Good luck to you.
Right.
You will be
No. See, my point is, no. I have to wind up. 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 Thank you. My point is, one minute. Well, the opposition will say its piece. What's Orwellian as I wind up, what's Orwellian is that does I.N.D.I.A. itself know? What does I.N.D.I.A. itself know who its prime ministerial face and convener is going to be for them to point fingers at anybody else? The other aspect is India is not Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance. To appropriate the name of a country smartly as an acronym, that is perhaps disservice to the nation, and that's not very smart, and that's why the differentiation between India, that is Bharat, and I.N.D.I.A., that is an Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance. Thank you very much. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, in conversation with Sadhguru.